Happy Valentine's Month, everybody. I'm the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to share with you some of my favorite Valentine's Day episodes from TV shows or even movies. Not everything is all lovey-dovey. Sometimes Valentine's Days deal with heartache and everything. So, some episodes will be romantic and lovey-dovey, while others will be very sad and heart-wrenching and stuff. But love is love. It doesn't always come with smiles and giggles and glee. So I'm here today to talk to you about Dairy Girl Season 2, the rundown review. Love is in the air in this season. And in fact, that's pretty much the whole entire premise of season 2. Every girl, well, the main girls of the show, the main four, are all in some type of love affair or type of scandal thing. Everybody has a love interest of sorts in this season, except for Holly. She's more involved in a scandal. And I kind of like this take they took on season 2. Because the whole thing about this show is about a group of 4 girls who start off at 16, and then by the end of the 3rd season, they're 18 and ready to graduate from school. And it just shows the trials and tribulations of what it is like to be a young teen, and mostly a young teen girl and stuff. Or at least in this new age, or actually, even in the past, because a lot of stuff hasn't changed, but kind of has. They like to party, they like to drink, they're having problems with their relationships. They want to know if they should go to the next level or not. They talk about marriage, and it's just and they deal with so much crap from their peers and stuff and the people they're in relationships with. So with the first season, it was the whole setup of who these people are, or who these girls are. And we got to know them very well in those 6 episodes and stuff. And now it comes into more of their love lives as that's blossoming more. Some are still making the same mistakes as before. Some haven't learned their lessons. And others are just trying to learn just in general. And so this season, the first 2 seasons, it's kind of hard to say which is the best because they're both similar and they both have the similar blend of comedy, and they're really, 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 really good. The 3rd season, I'm rewatching that now because I'm trying to think. I know there was some aspects of the 3rd season I just didn't like, and it sucks because that was the last season. And, there were just some elements in it. It was kind of that could have been better. I don't remember if I actually liked the finale episode or not. I have to rewatch and stuff. But I know no matter what, I love this show. This show is so popular. It's an international hit. People love it all around the world. But it is one of those shows that is starting to get forgotten because most people have either never heard of it, and also because this came back out in 2012. This show badly needs a revival. We need to see what they're like in their college years, because the girls still look absolutely the same, And so we need to see what they're like in their college years, what they're like in their adult years, who got married, who didn't, who had kids, who didn't, you know what I'm saying? And so I've already reviewed a good couple of episodes in this, so I'm not really going to recap those, but I'm just going to just give the rundowns of what the characters have been up to. I'll start off with Holly. Holly is still pretty much the same as she was last season. That's another great thing about this show. Nobody's personality changes. I've said this so many times before. If it's a comedy, you keep that comedy show characters how they are from the first episode to the last. You do not change them whatsoever, because once you do, then that's when the show starts to go downhill and people start to lose interest. That's what happened with a lot of American comedy shows, like the younger cast, the kid cast, say Modern Family in the Middle. Once the kids started to evolve and their personality changed, the show was no longer funny. Now, if it's a drama or action, then sure, you change the character's personality. You give them character development. But Holly is pretty much just the same. She's still angry. She's still mean. She's not as angry as before, but when you piss her off, she's ready to like punch your face in and stuff. Holly doesn't really have much to do like this season. Other than just like, be like really like mouthy and stuff. She's pretty much hanging out with the principal a lot more because the principal he feels sorry for Holly, because she's like the oldest of her family. She has to take care of her brothers and sisters. Her dad is locked up. Her mom is constantly working and stuff. And so, like, she has a lot on her plate, which causes a lot of her anger. And he wants her to, like, succeed in life. And he tells her, you have a future going to college. And she's shocked. She's like, me? College? Like, get out the way. That's not for me. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, but he sees potential in her, like, you know what I'm saying? And it really lifts her spirits to where she's trying her best to like manage. Like, I don't know what her grades are like, but she is able to graduate with everybody else, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, the biggest story arc that she has this entire season is when she kisses another girl's ex-boyfriend, and that causes her to get freezed out by her friends. And so, like, and she did it because she said, she was drunk and everything, which I still don't know if that's really an excuse. Maybe if you're super, super, super plastered, maybe. Okay, fine. You know what I'm saying? But, like, she should have known better, or, like, she should have never initiated, or they should have stopped her, you know? And so when she got froze out, she started hanging out with a group called the Pretties, and that's like all the blonde girls that are like really mean and stuff. And she dyes her hair blonde. Now that's an episode I like, but it's also an episode I felt should have been divided into two, because she didn't really get to hang out with the Pretties that much, and when she did, she didn't like them, and so she just pretty much like shook up a soda and spilled it all in this one girl's face, and then she re-dyed her hair and made up with her friends and stuff. And so it's kind of like, that storyline should have went an entire episode and not the way it did. But it is kind of cool how like the principal is always like counseling her and trying to make her do better. But she is still as horny as ever. When there is a guidance counselor finally that they hire, he's older and she is literally throwing herself at him. She's popping up her boobs, talking about how she wants to like jump his bones. To make herself sad so that she can talk to him, she literally jabs a pencil in her eye. So, it's kind of like nothing in her mind is telling her, look, you're a little too young for this dude and everything. And, but other than that, she's a lot nicer to her friends than what she was in the first season. And so, like, that's pretty much all going on with her. Next is Zaz. Zaz. Sometimes I feel like the writers can't never think of anything for her, so they put in the most like random thing ever. However, she did have a lot more to do this season, which is probably why Holly had less and stuff, because in the first season, Zaz didn't really have that much to do. So with this season, we see just how more temperamental Zaz can be, and how more weird and bizarre she can be. This whole season mainly about her being just weird and stuff, because she's the most different out of everybody in her group. You have the mean one, who is Holly, you have the leader, who is Viva, you have the dumb one, who is Amber, and then you have the smart, awkward one, who is that of Zaz. And in this season, we find out that when Zaz was just like a little girl, she cut like the butterflies off of Amber's shoes for no apparent reason. I don't even know if they were like friends or not. And this caused Amber to resent Zaz for many, many years, and they never knew that. Because Amber believed, her butterflies give her like princess powers and everything, because she's like so girly. And Zaz is kind of like, this is stupid, this is dumb, I just did it just to like do it. It don't mean nothing, and I'm weird, and I don't know why I'm weird, but I hate when people call me weird. And when people call her that, we see how angry she gets and stuff. And so it causes a rift between her and Amber, but then she knows Amber's one of her best friends, and she doesn't want Amber to hate her. So she makes it up to Amber. She doesn't apologize, but she does something very kind to her locker that makes Amber just like so ecstatic and everything. And she does that because she's pretty much been making fun of Amber, talking about, well, I guess I'm doing this because of princess powers inside me and stuff like that. She also gets into it with Holly, um, which is somebody she rarely gets into it with. Like last season, she just smashed her face into like the table, but in this season, Miss Hitchcock is beyond pregnant, and so she can't really do what she has to do. So she needs an assistant coach. So what she does is like she has the girls vote for who she wants to be the assistant coach. They pick Zaz. Zaz becomes like crazed with power, and it really pisses off Amber because Amber like, I have these ideas, you don't want to listen to them and stuff like that. And so Zaz is just making them do all kind of weird routines and exercise techniques that are just like bizarre and weird, and everybody's just, she's getting on everybody's nerves to the point where Amber lets her oh no no Holly lets her have it, and takes over the team. And so when she does that, Holly, of course, is more aggressive and teaches people how kind of like to cheat, how to like kick them like when they're down, or kick them in their shin and stuff like that, pushing them down and head-butting them and all kind of stuff. And so when they start to lose, Zaz comes in, and then they have like a reconciling, and then Zaz like helps the team like to win and stuff. Now, in terms of love life, her boyfriend Joe, he immigrated to that of Australia with his family, so she didn't get to see him no more. And so since they're not going to do long distance, they're broken up. And for the most part, she is trying to date other guys, but she starts competing with that of Amber, trying to like date this one dude who's just very creepy. All he does is just like talks about dead stuff, like serial killers and slashers and real life ones, and also in movies and stuff. And it's kind of weird, but she's still her awkward self when she's talking to him, because she doesn't know how to talk to people that she likes. And so then in one episode, the most random thing like happens with her. Like, okay, somebody's been leaving her love notes on her locker. And so she's really happy and excited. Then she finds out who it is. It's a girl. And so she's irritated by that because she likes guys and not girls. However, because she wants like a relationship, she decides she's gonna give it a try. She's gonna give being a lesbian a try. And in that whole episode, she's contemplating, should I be a lesbian? Like, will it be okay? And I guess it'll be okay. And it's just kind of, cause it's kind of interesting and weird, because she's just going all along with it. It's like she's so desperate, she wants to date somebody. She'll date whoever comes along, even if it's somebody she doesn't want. I've seen people like that before. Not necessarily when it comes to LGBT, but when it comes to like a person who finds out somebody likes them and they don't like the way that person say look or act, they start to convince themselves they do like that person. And that's exactly what she's doing here. And she's really, really going for it and stuff. And her friends are like, dude, you're not a lesbian and stuff. She's all like, but maybe I am. And everything. And so when they're at the party, she goes up to talk to that girl. Still awkward as usual, but she's not as awkward as she is with the guy. She's able to calmly talk to this person, but in a very awkward kind of way. She's all like, So this is awkward and everything. So you liking me, I'm liking you. I've never done this before, but like I'm willing to like give it a chance and everything. And and you're so pretty and stuff like that. And the girl's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You like me?" And she's like, "No, I don't." She's like, "Well, you keep leaving me notes on my locker." She's like, "Oh, I thought that was Holly's locker." And so that pisses her off. She's all like, "Holly, how come you don't like me?" and everything, which is crazy because she's not a lesbian. And so when she tells Holly that, Holly's like flattered, and so she's sad and disappointed because she don't have nobody. And Amber's all like, I'll be your lesbian lover, and gives her like a huge kiss on like the lips in front of everybody. And she's very shocked as Amber did that. Now, I've already explained that one Mean Girl episode when it comes to Zaz. Apparently, Zaz is super weird to the point where she jots down everything she's thinking about, especially about that of her friends. She doesn't like when people stare at her, so she makes eye charts of it. She makes eye charts and graph charts and all kind of number charts about everything. And so she started like, when it comes to Holly, because she's bigger, she started like jotting down like the fat intake that Holly takes in, and the cholesterol and all this other, and salt and all this other stuff. When it comes to Viva, she thinks Viva is like so fake and everything. And when it comes to that of Amber, she just thinks Amber's is a big hoe and everything. And her friends find this out in the worst way possible because this one girl is doing like the mean girl thing by printing out her diary and posting it everywhere, like online and stuff. And she's so embarrassed, especially when she's talking about like double clicking like her mouse to Amber's ex and like all kind of other guys and a teacher and stuff. And it was one of the most embarrassing things she went through. Now, if this wasn't a comedy, they would have took this in a much serious light, to how to like deal with this, handle this, and what the consequences to a person's mental health. But because it is a comedy, they went the comedy route. And boy, I felt bad for Zaz, but not as bad as I felt in the finale episode. So remember Joe, who she's like dating and stuff, and had to break up with him because he went to Australia. Well, he's the only guy she's ever banged. And so she talking about how like she misses him and this and that. And so when the girls were spying on this party, they about to like crash and everything, she sees him in the window of the party, and she's all like, "What is he doing in town? He's supposed to be in Australia." So she walks up to him, and he's freaked out. He's like, "Zaz, what are you doing at this party?" And she's all like, "What are you doing here? I thought you were supposed to be in Australia." He's all like, "Oh, I'm only here in town for like 2 weeks, but my 2 weeks are like up." He was in town for 2 whole weeks, disguised himself and everything, so she would not find out. And she doesn't understand why. And he tells her because she emailed him constantly throughout the entire day. And not only with emails, but with like pie charts and graph charts and all this other stuff. And then she emailed his parents and all like, she said something very inappropriate, like, "Oh, I'm the girl your son is like snuggling up with and banging and stuff like that." And it got to the point where he's all like, she's too creepy and stalkerish. So he basically ghosted her and everything. And it's like, poor Zaz, man. Because like, she can't help but to be awkward. And she's a very intelligent, smart girl. And she just comes off as weird and stuff. And you really feel for her because, you've seen people like that, They have such a hard time trying to like just interacting with anybody. It's kind of like the Big Bang Theory. You know how that show took nerdness to like an extreme? A lot of people really are like that, And it sucks. Viva. I'm gonna get into Viva before I get into that of Amber. Amber, my God. This season. So Viva. Her and Rocky are dating at the beginning of this season because they started dating last season. Now, their relationship is very weird because, like, when they started dating last season, they dated, and then he got like upset because she thinks he's dumb, and so they broke up, and but they still remain friends. And then in the finale, they hooked up, and it was the first guy Cheryl hooked up with. So then they're dating this season. However, he gets too clingy, too obsessive. He tattoos in big bold letters "Viva Forever" over his chest. He's always wanting to be with her. He's always talking about the future. This freaks her out to the point where she starts avoiding him. And then she finally just decides she's gonna break up with him. He doesn't quite get it in his head. He thinks she's just gonna get back with him, and also, he's dumb. Her dad is best friends with him, even though he saw him bang his daughter in the last season. But he's always hanging out with Rocky, so it makes it awkward for her. She moved on big time because remember when I said Amber kissed one of the girl's exes? It was Rocky. Why? Because Rocky saw Amber, saw Viva, wanted to make Viva jealous, and decided to make out with Holly. This caused Amber to get freezed out, and it caused Viva to hate Rocky to the point where she broke up with him for the entire season. But it was so hard because she's always seeing him. However, things changed when she started dating a guy named Tyler. Tyler is kind of like this charming boy that everybody likes. Everybody thinks he's so perfect. He's soft spoken, he's kind, until he's in a relationship with somebody. And then we see the flaws in him. He's a control freak. He does not like Viva's new hairstyle. He says it's too short and she should wear a wig. He also hates all of her friends. And it's at the point where he's super controlling. Like when she's trying to break up with him, he's all like, "So you're gonna wear a wig? So you're gonna leave your friends alone?" Like he's not listening to it. And so they date for like a good couple of months, but then they break up. And then throughout the rest of the season, we see her secretly still pining after Rocky, but she doesn't realize she's doing that. When he sees her, he's all like, "Oh, I see you got my name on like your folder and stuff." She's like, "No, that says Rocky Mountains," but she spelled it the same way he spells his name. Then in the finale, we constantly hear her talking about Rocky this and Rocky that and Rocky everything. Like she's constantly mentioning his name at the most random spots. When she wakes up, she'll say his name. She realizes she is in love with him, in fact. So when they're talking one day, because he said like, he just wants to give her like a kiss on the cheek. No, he just wants to give her a kiss because it's like his superstition thing before he plays soccer. So he always gives her a kiss, but he gives it to her on the cheek, which kind of weirds her out. Turns out he has a new girlfriend. He finally moved on. She is beyond jealous. When his new girlfriend is having a house party, she stalks the party and crashes it. They meet this one guy named Joel. Joel is like this creepy kid at school who's very like morbid because he was driving the car, his parents was in the car, an accident happened, and his parents died in the car crash. He says he doesn't remember what happened, he blanked out, but everybody thinks he's a weirdo. Viva starts to become friends with him because she felt like she's dark and depressed and she wants to hang out with him. The finale episode in season 2 is even muted in a grayish tone to show how like dark and deep her depression is and stuff. And so when they're crashing the party and everything, she literally crashed it just to see Rocky. She's telling her friends to like sneak inside and see if you can find Rocky and all this other stuff. But then like, something happens to where she has to leave the party, and when she's back home, Miss Hitchcock goes into labor. And it's funny how she goes into labor. From the time she goes into labor till she gets to the hospital, she's like, "Ow, ow, 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 ow." It's so annoying in her high-pitched voice. And so The morbid dude, he drives, and they're like, crap, they don't want him to drive because of what happened to his parents. And Miss Hitchcock's all like, oh, great, you brought the deaf boy to drive me to the hospital. And so at one point, Deaf Boy and Amber was trying to make him happy to not be so sad and depressed, so they started dancing. He takes it the wrong way and tries to make out with her and tries to grab her and everything. Holly comes to her defense and hits him in the head with something large. When he's driving in the car, he's all like, hold up. He remembers now. He remembers how his parents died. It was his fault. They told him he was a bad driver. This causes him to get pissed, and then he gets into like a car wreck and everything. So, anyways, at the end of the season 2 finale, Viva's little sister is born, but she has to be the one to help because the dad's too busy putting out a fire. And so he's a fireman. And so for some reason, I don't know why it's like that, but even though the nurses and the doctors are in the hospital, they still need like the father of the baby to like go down and look underneath and all this other crap. But of course he's not there, so Viva has to do it. And so at the end, her and Rocky are still broken up, but they have a nice like heart to heart and everything. And then so that's pretty much her entire like story arc and everything. It's just like she will forever like love Rocky, even though she is the one who broke up with him. Her and Miss Hitchcock still don't get along. Her dad still doesn't act like no dad. Like Miss Hitchcock will literally make fun of Viva to her face, and he's just okay with it. Now, what's interesting is that the house party of the girl she don't like had a fire, and he had to be the one to put it out. Sometimes I think he's the one who said it, but chances are it's one of the kids. Now let's get into Amber. Oh, poor Amber. I love her to death. She is hilarious. But sadly, Amber is still having to deal with Brandon. Brandon will not leave her alone. She is trying her extreme best to like not think about Brandon, stay away from Brandon, and not try to like sleep with him again. But he's trying to do everything he can to get back and up her skirt. Brandon does generally like Amber, but he mainly likes to bang her and use her and stuff. See, Brandon is a hoe, and Brandon will sleep with anybody. At the beginning of this season, he is jealous when she sees that she is trying to get with another guy, and he's talking to Viva about it. And so he realized, okay, crap, he screwed up because he banged Topaz. Who is Topaz? Is Amber's sister. We'll meet her in the 3rd season. And so, yeah, he banged Amber's sister, and Amber caught him banging. And when she caught him, he's all like, do you want to have a threesome? And then he admitted to Viva that if it was her mom, he would have banged the mom too. And he blames it all on alcohol because he loves to drink and he loves to party. And so, like, he even ends up making out with Viva when she's drunk. And he's thrilled and excited when he finds out that Zaz double clicks her mouse thinking about him. He is so wrong for her. It is beyond imagine. But she's kind of like Harley Quinn. She's loony in the head and she goes for the bad boy. But she is trying her extreme best to stay away from him. Even to the point where she's like reading the paper, she sees him and she puts the paper up in front of her face. Then she takes off running. But it's so hard because he's always around. Like she says, like when he be in class, when he be at lunch, he sits in a certain way across the table from her, looking like trying to look all like sexy and everything. And it's really hard because all she can do is think about him constantly. And so in this season, she's constantly saying, oh, I want to get back with him, but then, oh, I don't. So it's back and forth over and over. And there's so many situations where he's trying to like talk to her and get back up her skirt. And she's all like, no, I don't want you no more. But then she's all like, really? You're thinking about me? And so like, there are times where they do it and there are times where they don't. In one episode, he has like, I think it's his grandfather, and his grandfather has Alzheimer's or something like that. And so his mom is out of town. And so Brandon's all like, I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to clean. I don't know how to do this. I need you to do this for me. So she goes over there and she's cooking for him and she's cleaning for him. But he's still trying to like bang her. And she's getting so irritated by that. And it's a hilarious scene between her and the grandfather because something happens and he's on the couch and he ain't moving. And she's like, oh my God, I killed him. And she's trying to revive him every way she can. She's smacking him, she's shaking him. She pours soda on top of his face. But this man ain't budging. And so then all of a sudden when she's talking on the phone about, I killed him, all of a sudden he gets up and he walks away. And when she turns around, she's like, she thinks he has ascended into heaven. and stuff. Oh boy. And her friends will keep like, look, the dude's using you and everything. Like he knows how to cook and this and that. And he's just like using you and crap. And so one of the things that him and her do that makes them start to like be friends again, because towards the end of the season, he does start to like help her. He even like tells her, yeah, I was using you when my mom was out, but I do appreciate, you helping me out and stuff. And then when they're supposed to go to like this party in the finale, she can't go because she realizes that she didn't make her dress for class and it's half her grade, and if she don't make it, she'll fail, and it's literally due the next day. So he's kind of like, I don't want to have to deal with this crap, and he starts to leave while she's bawling in tears because she won't sleep with him. And but then he has a turn around. He's like, fine, I'll help you and everything. So he's like, the model dummy for her dress. So she puts it on him and she starts like sewing stuff around him. This causes her to start to like, see that, oh, he does have a heart and he does care for her and stuff. Then one day they're talking and she said one of the favorite things they like to do is play pregnant wrestling. They put pillows and like, their shirts, and then they do like sumo wrestling stuff on the bed. And so she said that was some of her favorite memories with him. And so at some point in the finale, we see those two doing that again because he knows it makes her happy and he wants to make her happy. But they don't get back together. She finally has like the willpower to say just like no to him, but they remain friends. And y'all know what that happens. If you're exes and you remain friends with them, it eventually gonna get back with them and stuff. And so, of course, we get to see her do zany, crazy stuff. Like when the pretties like wanted to get back at Viva for talking to Tyler, they duct tape her and her dog to a pole and everything. She is one of the most hilarious characters on the show. She talks like super fast. She's super zany in the head, and she's just like a hoot. And so pretty much that is this season. 6 episodes. It's hilarious. They're 20 minutes long. And it's just the trials and tribulations of what people go through and stuff. The girls, like Viva, have learned that, you shouldn't drink too much because you do things you don't want to do. And then, it could hurt the other people, because she had to talk to Amber about how she made out with Brandon when she was drunk. And, and then it's the whole, when you date somebody, don't smother them to death, don't stalk them, don't constantly contact them, like Zaz and Rocky like had to learn, and then of course it's the whole closure to one relationship. How do you truly get closure? You know what I'm saying? Brandon just wants to sleep with her. Amber just wants to like be left alone, but they still want to be friends. Rocky still wants Viva. Viva is still secretly pining for him, and it's kind of like, how do you get closure for somebody that you think you love and everything, Now, wasn't that romantic? Or depressing, depending on what kind of video I just talked about. Okay, well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And bye.